Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to VTM Shadows of New York. And it all started kicking off in the last episode, guys. There's been rumor that Boss Callihan, the leader of New York City's anarchs, has met his demise somehow. And Kadir decided to pick Julia up, and we are now here at the Art Hole, the location of the private party in which our Lasombra was not invited to. So let's see if we can figure out what exactly is happening here. And here I am, at the only place I didn't expect to visit tonight. The Art Hole. Guessing by the sounds, the inside seems lively. Even if they know it's an emergency, they simply don't care. What are you standing around for? You still need an invitation? No idea. Do I? I think the bouncer will let you in. There's a bouncer? Yes, and he's standing right in front of you. Just start walking, whelp. And here I am, among partying elites. It's as stuffy and boring as I expected, but hey, at least it's exclusive. The title Panhard came up for these yearly gatherings is called Celebrations of Power, an invitation to re-examine the relationship between our undead bodies and the spaces they inhabit. The week-long event is packaged as a sort of performance art piece, meant to make the kindred who are involved celebrate their potential instead of despairing at their monstrous nature. We need to counter-program the omnipresent images of tragic vampirism with images that remind us we have inherited the earth and are now free to remake it in our own image, is the way our prince puts it. To this end, she organizes a series of exhibits, concerts, fireworks, parties, business meetings, etc., etc. Of course, the parties and business meetings are the most important. My prince. Kadir. Finally. Oh, wow. A very different look than we're accustomed to with Prince Panhard. A saint with angelic wings. A holy patron of New York City. I take a good look around. Half the figures here are dressed like they're attending a masked ball. The other half are religious figures, either demonic or saintly. I have to admit, I don't fully understand the theme here. I know Panhard based it on psychomagic, a sort of shamanistic psychotherapy using the power of art. Simply put, it's a holy mass and unholy mass in equal measures, a set of rituals meant to make the participants wholeheartedly accept they're both the worst and the best this earth has to offer. Put on this mask at the very least. You're standing out. Here. Oh, wow. I heard the aesthetic basis for these parties is the black mass in the film Eyes Wide Shut. Something this decision means Panhard is tone deaf, but it's quite the contrary. She knows the anarchs are constantly looking for ways to undermine her through art and rhetoric that point out glaring contradictions in her theoretically benevolent rule. But instead of denying and suppressing aesthetics designed to criticize the elites, she embraces them. Instead of risking a Streisand effect, she effectively defangs the opposition. The resistance becomes a part of the system, and both the Camarilla and the anarchs get the same message. Don't think of it as a pathology. Think of it as the new normal. I'll collect the key advisors. They've already been told to come here. I don't think there's a need for us to hold the meeting in a particularly secluded place. We'll just do it over there. Are you certain? Absolutely. Wait, is that Miss Sawinski I see behind you? We'll just let Kadir talk. I nudge Kadir to take over. I collected her on my way here, because of her role as a Lasombra representative. Just say political hostage. You people have made it perfectly clear what's going to happen with my parents back in Chicago if I go against you. I realized she might become a target, and decided to hide her at the art hole. Putting all my eggs in one basket will make my job easier. I'll look for a safe place for her to spend the night. Let her stay with you for now, Asmai. Time is of the essence. I didn't notice him sneak up on us. Nice get up. Are you absolutely sure? But of course. Everything we say here is going to become an open secret in a matter of minutes. Prince Panhard has already come up with the appropriate messaging. Out of the corner of my eye, I spot an elderly vampire guiding a young, fashionable human girl toward the basement. Led like a lamb to the slaughter. Best not to think too deeply about what's going on underneath this place. Before everyone gets here, I'd like to secure the perimeter. Easy now, El Asmai. All of the appropriate security protocols for you are already active. Me and the prince have already pulled some strings as well. The situation is mostly under control. Mostly under control. Never let anyone sleep any easier. Alasmai, I know that as the prince's sword, you're aching for blood, but you have to accept that, like most weapons known to men, you're most effective hidden in the sheath. Listen here now. Looks like a fascinating philosophical discussion in the making, but sadly, I'm forced to interrupt. Prince Panhard. All of a sudden, Samira appears between the two men, her calm and collected voice completely changing the atmosphere, as expected for a self-professed protector of the peace. Samira, I hope you're enjoying yourself. To be quite honest, I feel out of place. She nods and smiles at me, probably to signal she takes solace in not being the only person in the room who feels like a fish out of water. Especially now, seeing as I heard this meeting is meant for those of greater stature than mine. Nonsense. We have a delicate matter to discuss, one that might require severe judgment down the road. I think you understand why I wish for a child of Hakim to be involved. Of course. What is with that expression on your face, Kadir? He quickly collects himself. Look who's joining us. The High Regent of the Chantry of the Five Boroughs, Lady Aisling Sturbridge, walks up to our group in an outfit I would have never imagined her in, pretending everything is par for the course. Ha! Prince Panhard, the Sheriff, the Harpy, the Banu Hakim Primogen. Are we still waiting for someone? He's almost here. Shining even more brightly than usual, Aisling. I adore your outfit, Samira. Wish the prince allowed the same amount of effort for me. I, for one, am glad she didn't. I particularly love those horns. Thank you for reminding me. I put them on at the prince's behest, but I believe she's had more than enough fun. No, not yet. Well, this will do for now. But you're not off the hook yet. I paid a costly price to see you like this. Both Kadir's and the prince's voices are strained whenever they attempt humor. Their minds are obviously elsewhere, and it's not a happy place. Arturo, on the other hand, seems calm. Well, we all celebrate our power in different ways, I suppose. Now, what is this about? Just a moment. Over here, Addison. The Camarilla's infamous spokesman approaches, pushed toward us in a wheelchair by his servant. Helen? Everyone? I certainly hope this is something important. What a commanding tone. Seeing as Payne can't communicate normally, his servant relays his words to us instead. and he's posh and snobby enough to make me believe I'm listening to his master's voice. Carter won't be joining us? He gave me fair warning he might not make it tonight. I've messaged him the details. I'll have to find time to meet him later then. Finding time, searching for lost time. I swear it's all I do nowadays, and there's never enough. I guess now you understand why I insisted that this event must last all week. So many esteemed guests, many of them from out of town, each deserving at least a few hours. The figure in the wheelchair waves his hand impatiently. Yes, let's just cut to the chase now, shall we? That might be the wisest course of action, my prince. Arturo. My prince. Everyone, let me begin by stressing these important points. The situation is largely under control, the negotiations are underway, and the situation is more tense than dangerous. We are safe. Let me repeat. We are safe. And with that out of the way, here's the big news. Baron Callihan, de facto leader of the anarchs in New York City, met his final death in his office tonight. How did you find out? We have a good friend near his office. Their intel is as accurate as it gets. We've also established a negotiation channel with the anarchs. They gave us all the confirmation we needed. Was our court involved in his destruction? I look at her in disbelief. So does everyone else. Not that the same thought hadn't passed through my head, but to simply exclaim it like that. Oh, spare me the virtue signaling. I thought we were being transparent here. I don't give a damn if we took care of Callihan or not. I just want to have a clear idea of what I'm dealing with. Yes, a clear answer. I need that too. To my knowledge, none of us present here ordered his destruction, nor did we participate in it. Unless someone wants to confess. It's now or never. Of course, nobody speaks up. Arturo pretends to clear his throat. Well, that's our official position as well. The Camarilla's ruling body had nothing to do with it, and for all intents and purposes, his anarch contenders had more interest in removing him than we did. That interest is sure to manifest in one way now. His former enemies will prop him up as a martyr for the cause. Yes, which is why we sadly just can't leave the anarchs to their own devices. As much as we'd like to avoid recognizing their sect in any way, we've offered to assist them in an official investigation. Addison Payne's wrinkled face contorts slightly. Let me just ask you one question. You do realize those curs have no respect for our traditions, yes? We do, Addison. But as a veteran politician, you should be deeply familiar with the words controlled opposition. Yes, for now it's impossible to fully contain the anarch threat to New York. For now, our only option is to prop up a candidate who will offer the least resistance to our future plans for the city. We extend our hand to the most promising contender, giving him a way to present himself as a diplomat, a man of reasonable compromise. The rabble falls in line. The purists grow angry and alienated. We've already contacted the best possible person in their sect. He will oversee the investigation, and it's in his best interest to show he's able to resolve the situation calmly. Is that good enough? Addison ponders the question for a while, then waves his hand again. It is. Proceed. Funny thing, nobody's paying attention to me right now. Keep in mind, Mr. Payne, our man's people will still barely tolerate us, and the situation is volatile. The other factions within that sorry excuse for a sect might still try to escalate the conflict. I'll do my best to solve this situation as fast as possible. How so? Kadir is momentarily taken aback by Arturo's question.
I volunteer to coordinate the case with the anarchs, of course.
I refuse. You have more important duties to focus on. Once more, Kadir is stunned.
All due respect, Prince, but if you don't consider me capable of tackling this issue and attending to my usual duties at the same time, I think you gravely underestimate me.
Your penchant for working yourself to the bone is well known and appreciated by everyone in this room, Sheriff. But so is your perfectionism. If we do grant your wish and let you investigate while still fulfilling your routine obligations, can you guarantee you're going to give both of these tasks your best?
I can guarantee something very close to my best.
Close to your best doesn't cut it, Al-Asmai. Not when the vultures are out in force. Callihan's destruction is sure to cause unrest among the anarchs, and there's an obvious outlet for their pent-up rage. I want to make this perfectly clear. The celebrations will continue as planned, no matter what. This is why your presence here is absolutely necessary, Sheriff. We rely on your constant protection. Of course, my prince. We must be on a constant vigil for a few days. Al-Asmai's sword must be constantly pointed at the enemies surrounding us. The timing of the Baron's destruction is impeccable. The Anarch leaders are sure to point at us and claim we're shamelessly celebrating his end. Does anyone believe it's just a coincidence? Murders are messy, almost as messy as politics. It's impossible to reliably predict the outcome of any violent action. I think it'd be wise for us to brace for a lot of unfortunate coincidences, Aisling. In any case, the rabble can't get the impression that their power struggles are of great concern to us, but they also can't think we have something to hide. Which brings me to my point. We do need a symbolic gesture, one displaying expertly measured intensity. My best bet is a humble diplomatic envoy, a low-level official acting as an investigator of sorts.
I implore you, Prince.
Kadir. He bites his tongue and struggles to collect himself. I rarely see him lose his temper, at least where the Camarilla is involved. What's going on?
I wonder about your suggestion for this role. After all, it's not particularly prestigious, but carries a lot of responsibility. We're still talking about a Camarilla representative.
Oh, I think there's a very obvious candidate. Both he and Kadir look at me simultaneously. Everyone else in the room does too. Now, wait a second. He can't possibly mean... Miss Julia, once again, your full name eludes me at the moment. Am I allowed to speak? Or maybe I should wait for permission? Before I make up my mind, the sheriff sighs deeply and speaks up.
Sawinski.
Miss Julia Sawinski, right? I understand you used to be an investigative journalist before your embrace. That's correct. Among others, the Banu Hakim Primogen insisted that you're worthy of greater privileges and should be given a chance to prove yourself. Samira measures Arturo with suspicion. Yes. Do you still think she's capable? She looks me deep in the eye. I swear she's telepathically trying to tell me, please, please, please don't fuck this up, you dumbass little white girl. Of course. Good. And I'm sure that you, Al-Asmai, with no problem with your protege embarking on this mission, save for the pain a mother feels when watching her child leave the nest.
Whether I do or don't is not particularly important right now, is it?
It absolutely is. Panhard's backing of Arturo momentarily blindsides him.
Prince Panhard,
If Arturo's plan is reckless, I want you to tell me. I need a simple yes or no answer. Is the girl capable?
Now he knows he's left with no choice. I wouldn't entrust her with all the responsibilities that I have if she wasn't.
He exchanges glances with me, but his look is different than Samira's. It's as if he's trying to apologize to me.
Well, here we are, then. A recommendation from the Banu Hakim Primogen and the Sheriff. To tell you the truth, I was just throwing out ideas, but with this backing, I can't doubt the Night Clan's representative will get the job done. I'm certain each of us feels the same. Mr. Payne?
The atmosphere in the room mostly suggests people are glad they don't have to discuss the topic further. A shrug here, an averted gaze there.
It is as you say. I'll watch the way she handles the situation with great interest. Well then, Miss Lewinsky, looks like you've got your chance for a big break.
Yeah, condition's probably not good. Well, just tell me what to do. Just point me in the right direction. No point in pretending I have a choice here, is there?
Excellent. That leaves us with only one more matter, which I hope we can agree on.
Prince Panhard signals someone with their hand. The figure emerges from behind the corner. Good evening.
Katherine, what a pleasant surprise. Nobody informed us you were in town.
Addison, looking healthier than ever. And what does Weiss have to do with it? We need an impartial observer who everyone respects. As it happens, Katherine always knew how to make friends on both sides without angering either. I beg to differ. I'd be grateful if just for once you decided against throwing a tantrum about me, High Regent. A painful grimace crosses Aisline's face, but she's quick to interpret the taunt as an invitation to a game she can't possibly win. As long as she can prove herself useful to the proceedings in some way. If half of what I've heard about her from Miss Van der Weyden is true, from Mr. Van der Weyden is true, she should be able to. And what did poor Carter say about me this time? Nothing specific. One always has to read between the lines with him. But it was mostly envy.
Miss Weiss gracefully agreed to mediate between the Anarch representative and the La Sombra representative, ensuring mutual cooperation and mitigating potential conflicts.
That felt like a Freudian slip. La Sombra representative, not Camarilla representative. I.e., someone who can be catapulted from the sect without much damage to the ivory tower if they mess up. Is there a meeting to set up? Or is there a meeting set up? Arturo looks at the clock on the other side of the room.
In less than an hour. You better hurry then.
What the hell? All this is happening so fast.
If the situation is indeed under control, I will drive her and oversee the situation. Out of the question. You've got your orders, Sheriff. Attend to those. You fool. The girl needs guidance.
And we need yours. Nobody knows what might happen next.
But it's not as if the Anarchs have a lot of love for you, Al-Azmai. You're too efficient in your duties for them to tolerate you. You better spare Miss Lewinsky having them see you two together.
Do you think my guidance of Julia would be lacking, Kadir?
I never said that.
So, Do you have any objections to putting her under my care?
He lowers his gaze, but seems reassured. None whatsoever.
That's all I needed to hear. We'll be going then. Wasting no time as usual, I see. Have you at least tried the...
Oh, I guess that's appetizers?
Waiting is an old person's game, Helen. I still feel young. Remember, if there's anything you need help with. Probably not, but I appreciate the thought nevertheless. Have a great night, everyone. I'll catch up with you later, Addison.
I certainly hope you do.
And so, we leave. In a rush. Funny, considering what she told me about being in a hurry yesterday. Uh-oh. We're here. She thanks the chauffeur and lets me out of the car into a quiet neighborhood, somewhere in Queens. Seemed like you were in a rush. I couldn't stand the crowd. She's honest. Probably performatively so, just to get into my good graces. Well, it's working. And why is that? In my experience, gatherings like those always enable a boring pack mentality. All the familiar lies we tell ourselves just to justify lusting for more, repeated ad nauseum. What lies are you telling yourself? Her aura immediately turns colder. You have bigger issues to worry about, sweetheart. Oh well, at least now I know how familiar I can get with her. That I do. Back at the art hole, you said something about guiding me, but I have zero idea what to do. None. Like, whatsoever. I had a few necessary arrangements to make over the phone before we got here to ensure your pretty little head stays attached to your neck. For now, anyway. I am grateful, but I still feel way out of my depth. I need to know what to do. You used to make a living as an investigative journalist, did you not? Investigate the murder. In TV shows where an investigative journalist gets too close to the heart of a politically incendiary case, it rarely goes well. A cat's head on their porch, a bullet to the head. So, are you afraid you might be a pawn in a game you don't understand? That your elders consider you a disposable asset? That a single wrong move might cost you everything you hold dear? That sounds about right, yeah. Well, by the sound of it, you understand your situation perfectly. Don't belittle me. I need your advice. Be anything you want, but don't be boring, Julia. If I wanted to belittle you, I would have drowned you in platitudes long ago. Know thyself. Believe in your strength. Trust no one. Act confident. Turn the chessboard around and read your opponent's mind. Read Sun Tzu and quote him incessantly. Say, do you feel any better now? Can I ask you something? Seeing as Mia is still not here, of course. Do you know who killed Baron Callihan? I haven't the slightest idea. Were you emotionally impacted by his death? Not at all. Did you know him? Only passingly, I'm afraid. I expected him to perish sooner than later, so I never bothered to improve our relationship. Why are you helping me? Am I? That remains to be seen. What do you mean? You do not want a painfully honest answer. But I do. She stares me down. Her irreverent tone makes it impossible to guess what she's feeling, even more so than the mask. When I look at you, I see someone pitiful. Someone whose hunger is purely biological, just an animalistic rush. When I saw a bird... Oh, I hate that word. A growing plan to put you in a situation that is way beyond your capabilities, I offered my help. I was curious to see if your true colors reveal themselves firsthand. When everything is said and done and Callihan's killer is pointed out, will you be a whimpering animal or a victor taking the spoils? I cannot wait to find out. I don't know what to say. Is she provoking me, or... Mia should be here any second. You have time for one more question. What makes you important? Who is Mia? I'm sure we're going to meet Mia eventually. What makes you important? What do you do to hold so much sway over this city? I have the best occupation in the world, and I made sure nobody is better at it than I am. And that occupation is a socialite. And that was your last question. Direct the rest of them to her. A woman around my age emerges from around the corner of the street. Ooh. Oh, I remember her. I've never met her before, but if I had to describe her in 2 words by her aura alone, I guess those words would be permanently angry, even more so than your average anarch. You must be Katherine Weiss. And you must be Mia Morgan. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. The pleasure's mutual. This your girl? Julia Sawinski, the La Sombra Primogen. The La Sombra representative. I correct her automatically. At this point, it's a habit. Good. If you were a Primogen, I might have tried to kill you here and now. Is Torque still on the site? Nah, I told him I'd take it from here. By the end of tonight, he needs to look like a natural candidate for the leader of the NYC Anarchs. It's going to take a lot of driving around and negotiations. How did he react to finding Callahan's remains? He hasn't exactly elaborated on his feelings, but I expect he reacted the same way every true believer in the cause did. If this complicated mess of all possible feelings, or it's this complicated mess of all the possible feelings under the moon. So he was the first one who to the murder site? Oh, so you're already calling it a murder site. Does the Ivory Tower know something we don't? It's not the official position, but I expect a lot of them to think it's Torque who stood to benefit the most from the boss's death. And it sounds like he's quick to jump on new opportunities. You don't know him. Yes, but I'd love to meet him and ask him some questions, especially if he was the one who found the body. Well, if you're meeting Torque at all, it won't be tonight. He's too busy. I was assigned to investigate. I won't be able to do it properly if I'm not able to question a key witness. I'll arrange for him to see you this week. This week? Are the tensions a little too high for delaying an investigation like this? Well, Torque's work is our best shot at making sure they won't get higher, so boo fucking who. I'm his right-hand woman, though. You got any questions? Direct them to me. Maybe the two of you should just head to Callahan's office. The discussion here does not seem to be going in the right direction, and nor in a particularly interesting one. You're not coming? Torque and you are not the only ones who have their work cut out for them tonight. I trust you can take it from here. And Mia, be easy on her. In slightly different circumstances, I expect the two of you would have ended up on the same side of the barricades. Uh-huh. Take care. She heads back to her vehicle. Well, follow me. I'll show you his place.
Okay, guys. Well, and there is the body. Looks like we are getting a detailed scan of the room. But I think this is a good place to go ahead and end it. So we have gotten thrown right into the lion's den. And we'll have to see what we can do with the murder investigation. Hope you all have enjoyed it, and we will pick this up in the next episode. If you liked it, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.